An absolute seismic power struggle has just detonated behind the high stone walls of Windsor, and Prince William has executed a move that feels less like internal family drama and more like a quiet, ruthless declaration of who actually rules the British monarchy. No, wait a minute. This isn't just a minor administrative disagreement or a simple change to the guest list for a holiday gathering. This is a cold, calculated, structural purge of the inner royal circle. Prince William has effectively dropped an iron curtain around Windsor, stripping Queen Camilla's non-royal grandchildren of their free access, casual proximity, and unhindered privileges within the sovereign estate. And the single detail that makes this entire situation terrifyingly fascinating isn't even the headline itself. It's that Princess Anne, the most disciplined, fiercely loyal, and hard-working royal of the modern era, witnessed this systematic eviction firsthand and said absolutely nothing. Look, let's be totally honest here. If you know anything about how Princess Anne operates, her absolute silence is the royal equivalent of standing up in the middle of a private council and giving Prince William a slow, icy standing ovation. To truly understand why this strategic expulsion from Windsor is sending massive shockwaves through palace corridors, you have to look closely at the bizarre. Constitutional gray zone Queen Camilla's biological family has occupied for years. Camilla has 5 biological grandchildren through her 2 children from her first marriage, Tom Parker Bowles and Laura Lopes. In the cold legal eyes of the British Constitution, these children hold 0 titles, 0 royal prefixes, no official public duties, and absolutely no place in the line of succession. They are regular private citizens who simply happen to have a grandmother who married the king. Yet, for years, King Charles allowed them physical access to the heart of the monarchy, inviting them to Sandringham, including them in private family gatherings, and allowing the line between official working royals and non-royal relatives to become dangerously blurry. The media painted this as a heartwarming redemption arc, a story of a blended family finally finding acceptance after decades of public scandal and hostility. But then the hammer dropped, and the invitation to Sandringham never arrived. Tom Parker Bowles officially confirmed that neither he nor his sister would be attending Christmas with the royal family, with the palace offering a polite, sanitized explanation that the gathering was being kept smaller due to the king's ongoing health battles. But hold on, let's stop right there, because that official explanation completely disintegrates the moment you examine who actually sat at the Christmas table. Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, the daughters of the disgraced Prince Andrew. A man stripped of his titles and banished from public life were welcomed with open arms because they chose loyalty to the crown over their exiled father. That proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that the exclusion of Camilla's family wasn't about seating capacity or medical precautions. It was a cold, deliberate boundary drawn in stone. This was not a scheduling conflict. This was a systematic eviction designed to signal that the free ride was officially over. Let that sink in for a moment. This sudden, uncompromising boundary lines up directly with Prince William's long-term master strategy for the future of the kingdom. William has been fiercely vocal behind closed doors about his uncompromising vision for a radically slimmed-down, hyper-efficient monarchy centered strictly on the direct line of succession and a tiny core of active working royals. Having watched the catastrophic fallout of the Prince Andrew scandal, William carries a deep, burning fear of what happens when an institution grows too large, too bloated, and too full of peripheral figures who consume public resources and attract media scrutiny without contributing anything meaningful to the state. Sources confirm that while King Charles hesitated and dragged his feet over how to handle Andrew, Prince William was smoldering on the sidelines, demanding swift, brutal action to sever the toxic link before it destroyed the crown's legitimacy. And while William and Camilla temporarily aligned during the Andrew crisis to protect the institution, sharing a common enemy never created a permanent alliance. The bitter historical root of the conflict between Prince William and Queen Camilla is something no amount of fake, smiling public appearances can ever erase. Queen Camilla was the central figure in the catastrophic destruction of William's parents' marriage. William grew up watching his beloved mother, Princess Diana, endure public humiliation, deep psychological trauma, and agonizing isolation while his father openly chose another woman. For decades, William maintained a distant, dutiful, and icy politeness toward Camilla, never openly hostile in front of the cameras, but maintaining an absolute emotional quarantine in private. They found common ground when the survival of the crown was threatened. But common ground is not trust, and it certainly does not mean William will tolerate Camilla's non-royal relatives setting up camp inside the symbolic heart of the British Empire. Now think about the strategic timing of this move. Prince William and Princess Catherine recently relocated their entire household to Forest Lodge on the Windsor Home Park estate, and high-level palace insiders read this as an absolute declaration of independence. The Prince and Princess of Wales have constructed their own operational court, completely distinct from Buckingham Palace and entirely separate from King Charles's setup. The message echoing through the palace halls is terrifyingly clear. The Wales household is building its own future, with its own strict rules, and its own uncompromising definition of who belongs inside the royal circle. Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis are the absolute core of the future monarchy. Catherine's family, the Middletons, are managed with extreme disciplined limits. But Camilla's grandchildren represent a dangerous, chaotic complexity that simply does not fit William's streamlined model. They carry no bloodline, no constitutional role, and their sole connection to the crown rests entirely on Camilla's marriage to an aging monarch. And here's the real kicker that makes this entire move so lethal. When King Charles eventually passes away, Camilla's status changes instantly and dramatically. She becomes the Queen Dowager. Her household budget gets slashed, her access to royal estates gets completely renegotiated, and every single aspect of her public life falls under the supreme, unquestioned authority of the new King Prince William, the man whose mother she helped push into the shadows. By taking action right now, while Charles is still on the throne, William isn't just expressing personal irritation, he is setting the unyielding template for his future reign. He is declaring to the entire palace apparatus that the power to shape public perception, control royal property, and decide who gets access to the inner sanctuaries of the crown has already shifted away from his father and into his hands. Believe it or not, the most telling aspect of this entire confrontation remains the absolute stone-cold reaction of Princess Anne, completing nearly 500 official engagements a year at 74 years old. Princess Anne operates under an unshakable code of raw practical duty, iron discipline, and total discretion. She witnessed the horrifying destruction of Charles and Diana's marriage firsthand, saw the immense trauma inflicted on young William, and watched the monarchy nearly lose its footing during the dark scandals of the 90s. She has known Camilla for over half a century, but Anne's loyalty belongs entirely to the survival and integrity of the British crown. So when Prince William quietly moved to strip Camilla's relatives of their free access to Windsor, Princess Anne's complete silence was her ultimate stamp of approval. She recognizes that William's vision of a lean, legitimate, and disciplined monarchy is the only way the institution can survive in the modern world. Look, let's be totally honest here. The British public isn't shedding a single tear over the exclusion of Camilla's grandchildren. There are no public protests, no angry headlines, and no petitions demanding their return to the Sandringham Christmas table. Because the public understands precisely what William understands, royalty is not an entitlement to be handed out to step relatives. It is a sacred, heavy constitutional burden. As King Charles battles serious health challenges at 77, the transition of power is already happening in every way except the official title. The boundaries are being redrawn, the master calendar is being cleansed, and the ancient gates of Windsor are closing shut on anyone who doesn't serve the core mission of the crown. Prince William is methodically building his kingdom, one boundary at a time, proving to the world that when his time comes, the House of Windsor will be an impenetrable fortress of discipline, legitimacy, and absolute royal power.